achieve the absolute equality, substantive equality, what we term in our context, all three can see here. You can see that here only which one is on the top can see, which is the tallest can see, and but the facility for everyone is the same. Here, the support has been given as per their need. However, if we change the whole structure from bar to a net, everybody can enjoy with their own capacities, and we also recognize everyone with their identity. This has been three different approaches of development justice modalities that has been considered, and that has been has been adopted as the approach. And here, that is also the base for the SDG. SDG has a very important basic principles based. It says that there has been very few who are in upfront. Many of the others has been left behind. How can we ensure that we will not leave anyone behind because of our own approach of development, because of our own methodology that we use in development? How can we ensure that everyone gets the fair share? And we also realize that we have not been able to reach the unreached, and the unreached has always been marginalized, and they have been systematically overlooked and ignored. How can we have a very specific focus on unreached, marginalized, underprivileged communities, discriminated gender groups? All these things has to be very consciously looked upon. Therefore, reaching the most unreached has been one of its principle. Inclusion. And then we say that we always talk about inclusive development, and when we talk about inclusive development, we talk about including those who are marginalized by our principles, by our programs, by our but without their own physical and meaningful participation. But here in SDG, the principle is we just not talk about inclusion in numbers, we just not talk about inclusion in principle. We also make sure that those who have never been given the opportunity to participate, who've always been looked upon as the recipients of development, has to be in the main front. And there, each and every stakeholder should have right to meaningful participation. And it says that nothing for, if we talk about those marginalized, discriminated, left out women as a whole has been discriminated. If we talk of, we should stop talking about them, but we should work with them. So the whole gender, the women folks, they say nothing for us without us. We have to be there right in the center whenever the discussion on women is going about, and the strategies and plans have been formulated. Therefore, the stakeholders, the recipients, the partners of development should be in the forefront, and participation of those whose issue is in the upfront. These 4 or 5 very basic principles really is a big leap or the shift of the paradigm when we talk about development with justice. And SDG demands for development, demands, and also based on the development justice model. Now we come to the transformation with justice as a modality of modality. which has been adopted by Sustainable Development Goals. All 17 goals has been very much based on this, and it says that we need to transform the justice system. We need to transform the structural barriers, and we also need to transform the governance system, which is necessary, which is the dire necessity if we really want to have a equitable development. Therefore, especially when we are coming to the goal number 5, it says that goal number 5 demands not only for the implementation of gender goals, but also demands for system change. The whole transformation of system is the demand. Therefore, when we come to the gender issues has been dedicated to goal number 5. However, gender equality has been considered as a cross-cutting theme. It cross-cuts directly with all 17 goals and also has indicators in SDGs. Like goal number 1 to 17, there are indicators that is based on gender equality. So gender equality is just not a number 5, it demands that all 17 goals have been integrated, mainstreamed, and each of the 17 goals has to be responsive to gender equality. And then there is also a dedicated goal, which is gender equality goal number 5. Out of the goal 17, like goal number 1 is no poverty, is very much linked with gender equality, which unless we have gender equality, unless the development based on justice is addressed, poverty, we cannot imagine eradication of poverty. And goal number 2, zero hunger, good up to the 17, good health and well-being, quality education, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry and innovation of infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, peace and justice, strong institution, partnership for goals. So all these have very direct indicators that is linked to the goal number 5 or gender equality. So SDG goal has been very much mainstream gender equality and also has a dedicated goal, goal number 5. And this is what we call is based on development justice. So now the dedicated gender equality and women's empowerment goal, goal number 5 is very focused specific to the achieving gender equality and empowerment of all women and children. And it has got sub goals and also sub targets. So goal 1 says end all form of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere, any country, any space, any community, from individual, community, country to the globe. Therefore, because there is a inherent discrimination at all levels and all sectors, unless we end very consciously with our strategies, with our programs, with our plans, and also with the resources allocated, the globe is not going to be just full. And gender equality will just be a dream. Therefore, first goal says all any forms of discrimination against all women and girls anywhere. And second is very specific to the violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual and other types of exploitation, which is very much prevalent in our society, sometimes because of the patriarchal norms, sometimes the culture, sometimes also because of the global market, the market policies. Women has been considered very much as commodities in the market. So how can we really, address the issue of commodification of women and also women from the sexual and market exploitation? And goal number 5.3, the third is elimination of all harmful practices such as child marriage, early marriage, forced marriage, and female genital mutilation. When we talk about child marriage, early marriage, forced marriage is very, very much rampant in our region. Whatever we say, we have reduced, but it has not been reduced as per our effort. So we really need to unite to work on, because sub-Saharan Africa and Asia are the most, the child marriage is very much rampant in these countries. And then especially Africa has this female genital mutilation, which is a direct inhuman, harmful practice upon women, especially only one specific sex groups. And then the other thing is there are also many socio-cultural harmful practices which needs to be addressed immediately if we really want to have this justful society. And the fourth is recognize and value unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services, infrastructure, and social protection policies, and the promotion of shared responsibility within the household and the family as nationally appropriate. One of the most impeding factor for women and girls to perform, to have an independent life, and also to compete in the global scenario is their reproductive role, the role that they are bound to play in the household, and which is never recognized, never acknowledged, but it is there forever, which is the care and domestic work for them. Their role as a mother, their role as a woman housekeeper, their role as a cook, their role as social worker impedes them from grabbing the opportunities in the public spheres, and the infrastructure is also not up to their facilities, up to their situation, and social protection policies are also not recognizing all these things to promote women coming out of these. And the national accounting system is very biased towards it. National accounting system has been accounting all the roles played by others rather than these women, which is inevitable at home for the nation building, but not monetized, not accounted, and not acknowledged. And the demand is that we should acknowledge that, we should also value that, and also transform the culture of responsibility sharing, between men and women, between members of the family on the unpaid care work, so that the opportunity for development can be accessed by both in the equal basis. And fifth is ensuring women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision making in political, economic, and public life. Therefore, women in politics, women in political sphere has been coming up at the same time women in economic arena. Women has always been contributing to economic development as unpaid laborer, as informal worker, as voluntary supporters, but they have never been recognized as individual human resources. Therefore, to make them assertive, make them more competent, make them more productive, we need to provide equal opportunities, sometimes maybe more opportunities for them to grow, for them to develop their leadership and their own decisions in political, economic, and also public life. And six is ensuring universal access to sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights as agreed in accordance with the program of action of the International Conference on Population and Development. ICPD has clearly articulated this, and Beijing Platform of Action is very much strong on these issues, and SDG 5 demands for implementing this in action rather than only in the policies. And then there are 3 sub-targets. It demands that the countries should undertake reforms to give women equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to ownership and control over land and other forms of property, financial services, inheritance, and natural resources in accordance with the national laws. Therefore, there has to be structural policy changes so that these women not only informally gets the right, it has also to be de jure decisions so that they can claim. There are treatments, there are also platforms to a strong policy backup for these women to go for this. And the 5B target emphasizes on enhancing the use of enabling technology, particularly in information and communication technology, to promote the empowerment of women. Even though we said we've been claiming that 21st century is century of information and technologies, there are mostly women at home, women and girls are very much deprived from those opportunities and access to those technologies. And countries need to make conscious effort to bring them up to the level so that they can also compete in the world. They can also be informed all the time, and also they can prevent themselves from the potential violence. So for that, we need to empower women with all these skills and access to the information. And third, 5C target says that a country need to adopt and strengthen the sound policies and enforceable legislation for the promotion of gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls at all levels. That is one of the reasons that Nepal with its new constitution has many very forward-looking policies, very forward-looking provisions made in the Constitution by ensuring women's political and economic participation at all levels. It says that at least there should be 33% representation of women at all levels and sectors of development in the country. This is one of the case, and because of that, the women at all levels in the governance in all different spheres of the development arena, which is now bringing women in different parts, and all the countries have been called upon to adopt all the strategies and goals that has been articulated in SDG 5. If we look at the report of this year, the achievement of gender equality and empowerment of women and girls report 2022 is like this. It says that the representation of women and men, even with the focus on this by gender equality, SDG 5, still needs 40 years to come up to the level where men and women will be at equal level. There are lots of positive discrimination and policies that has been adopted by countries, but yet we have not been able to come up to that point. So we need to be making our conscious effort so that we will bring this gender equality in reality. And if we look at the data from 2015, which was 22.4% women in national parliaments globally, now it has gone up to 26.2%. Whereas some countries are a little bit ahead, like Nepal has been having 33% women in the parliament for about a decade. And gender responsive budgeting has been reinforcing by the countries, and there's a very strong institutional mechanism in our country also. However, in reality, it is not up to the level. The allocation of budget so far has not been more than 26% so far. And if we look at the child marriage, the figure is like, and it's not, we have not achieved so much. We need to really work very, very hard. And if we talk about the violence against women, it says that more than 1 in 4 women has been subjected to the intimate partner violence, and they are threatened. They are very much vulnerable within their own intimate partnership relationship, at the same time within the household. So this is the situation. That is why the situation, the emphasis is there. We have articulated our goals and targets and also indicators of change. However, we still need to work very hard, and therefore the fundamental question here is where, why, and how to implement SDGs. We have paper, we have targets, we have at the global level, national level, regional level, and all. If it has not implemented, if it is not been recognized and really recognized and implemented at the local level, How can we ensure that we do not leave anyone behind as it's facing? And how can we say that everyone gets just an equitable share of development? This is a question to all of us. How can this be realized? It's a question to all of us as educators, as advocates, as implementers, as planners, and as policymakers. So this is a challenge that I would ask everyone in this forum, those who have been listening to this, try to answer this. And then I do also have some question to everyone today. Why do we need to localize SDGs? Instead of having one recommended answer, let's try to answer this question. Let's all think together, why development? What type of development? Why justice? Whose development, whose reality is important? Whose reality, what should we change? What should development be for? Where? What should be the principle and approach of development now? Even after so long, after decades of focus, if we have not been changed, how can we make it happen? And how can we see this in realities? Where should be development located? So in the context of SDG and localization, this is my fundamental open question to all of you as faculty leaders, as curriculum developers, as teachers, as multipliers, as thinkers. Therefore, I would stop here